Hello, everyone. You are sitting here listening to Kevin Tharp, and today what I'm going to do is I'm going to be walking you through an example of how to do the first of the two assignments that we have this week regarding creating infrastructure and using Excel to organize the proposal that you have. So there's two parts to this. The first is Tech Infrastructure Planning with Excel, and this is for the online version. And then there's software and data strategy again for the online version. So what you're going to be doing in this is you're going to be building upon the readings from chapter 4 and chapter 7 and from the learning exercises that show you how to use the Excel to do some of the types of things that we're going to do. Now, there are some of the things that we do in here that we haven't completely covered in the training, but this is going to give you an opportunity to go in and see how to do some things that we haven't trained you on yet. And let's just get into it right now. So what I've done here is I have taken the different tasks that we've presented to you, and I've turned them into an executive summary template. So what this is a template of the summary the executive summary that you're going to do, which is when you're done the first page of your Excel workbook. And it's where I'll go to first when I'm looking at what you've done. And all I've really done is just to provide you a path to follow, where what I've done is I've taken the different elements here. So, for instance, the company description, define the business and location, description, and identify it where it is. And I've put that in here. I haven't given you the answers. What I've done is I've just placed pieces of information from the assignment into this so that you know it really what it is just a way of organizing how am I going to present this so that you can go through in a systematic way and make sure you cover all the bases. Then, once you have done that, you can use this template or you can make your own, but this template serves as just an organizing tool to allow you to go through and do the different activities. Now, the template is set up for this first activity, which is uh, the tech infrastructure planning, but it would also work. You would have to change the prompts in there, but it would work as a way of organizing your part two as well, because you'll be doing the same kind of thing, creating an executive summary for where you put together everything you've done in all the rest of the workbook. So what that ends up looking like when you have a project is, and I'm coming over here, this is actually a sample project that I have done. So I've gone through and I've done most of the things that you need to do. I haven't finished this because there are some things that I want to show you before I can do, for instance, the financial overview and the conclusion. So let me get into how I've done this. So there's a lot of information that you're going to need to pull up in order to do the research part of this. So what you need to do is, or not what you need to do, but one way of doing this that is efficient is exactly what I've done. I've made use of artificial intelligence. And so what I've done is I've gone through here and as I've thought about my company and what I'm going to need to do, what I've done is when I get down to the point where I need to know about specific hardware or network solutions or whatever, what I've done is I've gone into ChatGPT, which is Copilot, M65 Copilot. And what I did is I've entered a series of prompts. So here I've asked for a table of computer office options for a typical office with the name of the computer, whether it's desktop or laptop, RAM, hard drive size, and retail price. And that becomes what it does is it cranks it out. But what that does is that becomes one of my data sources in here. So if I'm looking at laptops or gaming computers or whatever, um, what I end up doing is pulling the data from over here and putting it into my different things. So there's a lot of them in here. This one actually should be under laptops. So the data from inside of this prompt ends up being my data. So I simply, after I've done the search, and that's actually an advantage of this is the way that people are doing things now in industry. So if you're in industry, you probably know that artificial intelligence is being used all over the place. If you're a student, you're hearing about it. You might be using it in some of your classes. This is a way that I did this assignment to save myself time and gather the data so that I could go through and then evaluate that data. And if you look, as you go through these, there's a number of these that I have done. So for instance, here is one where I looked at um, um, Microsoft Office 365 pricing plans, and I end up using this in my cloud services. So the information, so here, business basic. So this is how I gathered the data. But when you're pulling it out of Office 365 or out of the artificial intelligence, uh, there's some issues with that data. So that's one of the things I want to point out is once you grab that data, before it will work right in Excel, you can paste it in here, but there are some issues. So let me actually make this a little bit larger so that it's easier for you to see. Hopefully you can see now that, for instance, where my cursor is right now, it's got a forward slash in front of the dollar sign. And that will make it so that Excel doesn't recognize that as numbers. So one of the things that I did in order to correct this is I went into the find and select and I did a replace. And what I'm doing here, and I don't know how well you can see it, but I've looked at I've told it to replace the forward slash with nothing. So that will delete that. And what I did is I told it to do it at all on the entire workbook. So I'm doing this before I actually do the analysis on each of these components. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have it go through and replace all of them in the workbook. So you can go do this by sheet or by workbook, but workbook will pull it all out. So if I just choose to replace all, it just made 22 replacements across my sheet. And now you can see that that forward slash is gone. Now, the other thing that you should do is anywhere that you have money, go and change that to the accounting number format. So that you have the right format for when you're doing um, um, financial calculations. And you'll need to do that across all of your different tabs. So what I've done is I've put in each of the tabs, I've put different information. So cloud services, internet, gaming desktop, GPU. These are the things that I did because of the company that I'm designing. Yours are going to be different, but you can still use the artificial intelligence to gather that data. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put this on pause, and I'm going to organize all my data, and then we're going to get into some of the tricks you can do for analysis. Okay, so I've gone through and I've cleaned up my data. And what I'm in here now is in the cloud services area. So we talked about that a little bit. We're going to be using Microsoft Office 365 in my case because it provides a lot of different services that we need for my business. So I come in here and I'm trying to decide which of the plans. So I had it pull up the plans. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to grab a set of data. Now, this I'm bringing through the monthly cost. I'm not including the annual cost because just because the way that the graphing works, and that's one of the things that you'll play with when you're doing this. But I've selected this, the plan, the users, the cloud storage, and the monthly cost per user. And when you do that, this little quick analysis tool comes up. This is one of the ways that you can do add the charts and stuff to your analysis. So when I click on that, it gives me options for formatting. So that's what it defaults to. And if you mouse over these, it's going to show you what it does to your data set. So in some of them, in the formatting, it's just applying formatting to the chart or to the table itself. If I come over to charts, then it will give me a pop-up of what kind of chart I want to add. And when you find the one that is appropriate for the kind of analysis you're doing, you simply click on that. And what it does is it gives you the ability here to, or it creates a graph here, in this case a graph because I chose graph, and you can place that within your spreadsheet. You can move it into that sheet, or you can move it to other sheets. You can also adjust the things that you want included in there. So do you want axis titles? Do you want axis different things, chart title, data labels? So you can control each of these things, and as you click on them, you'll see what the different options are. So if I want to see, oh, that's the exact number that I have down there. So there's different options there, and you'll decide what you're doing. Now, later in the semester, we'll get more into charts. So you don't have to get too torn up about whether or not this is the exact chart for you. What we're doing right now is learning the process of how you go through and do these sort of things. Well, what I'm looking at is what is the option, what is the price? And I end up going with the business premium. And let me move this out of the way. And part of the reason for that is each person gets 1 terabyte of data of cloud storage, and the cost is $23.70, but it also includes the security tools. So in mine, I'm not having an on-site IT guy, so I'm having to turn to outsourcing for security, authentication, that sort of things. And I don't need to get into the enterprise grade features because I don't have IT people to manage all of that. So, and you can see I've highlighted it here. This is the one that I want to use for this particular application. So now I grab that, I copy that, and I'm going to bring that over into my dashboard. And so my dashboard is where I'm going to bring all the analyzed data so that it's all there for us to see. Not everything, just the stuff that I'm using to make decisions. So what I've done is I've gone ahead and started working in my dashboard. I've given this a name of cloud services because that corresponds to this. But in my graph here, it says monthly cost per user. It doesn't tell me what I'm doing, but I can see down here that this data is the monthly cost per user. So I'm going to call that cloud services. So I know what that graph is when it's in that dashboard context. So then that's there. And what I've done is I'm going to have 6 employees. So I've created a row for cloud services in this case. And then I've created columns for each of the things that I expect I'm going to be using when I'm doing this. So the number of users, the cost per month, the annual cost, and the total annual cost. So I did this with a series with this is data that comes straight from from right there. But what I'm doing here is, okay, I want the annual cost. So I've simply done a formula of C3 times 12 to get me the annual cost. And then here, what I've done is I've taken, I need that to be the total cost for all the users. So I've taken that and I've multiplied it by the number of users using a formula as well. So I will continue through this rest of these, and I will create my dashboard so that it can be used as a visual way of bringing all the data together for the people who are my audience. So I have been working on this, and I've combined all the information, and I have created the executive summary and the financial overview. And what I've done is I have created a PDF of the entire document. So it goes through and it will show you all the sheets that I've used, all the different tools that I've used along the way. And that should give you an idea of which direction to go with this assignment so that you can go forward. I honestly don't expect quite the level of detail in yours that I went into, but good luck, and let me know how it goes. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.